Okay, welcome guys. Is anybody here from the first batch? Can you or will all you first batch guys will all you guys watch it in the recording? Chat में डालना है first batch से second batch से हो? Hello, hello, hello. Am I audible? Second batch, right? Yeah, everybody's from the second batch. Feb batch. ठीक है, no worries. Cool. So this is, I guess, for posterity for the first batch guys. This marks the end of our trade, guys. And this marks the end of the first batch. Okay, so what we ended up doing was we ended up having 8 theoretical lessons and 5 live sessions. The live sessions were more than I anticipated because um, the market moved more than I anticipated, obviously, right? But I think it made for good learning for you guys because I think I did a decent job in managing risk, even though I had to be reminded multiple times by Akshansh ke bro deltas ka kya chal raha hai. In any case, let me share my screen and let's close out this position. And usually I would close it out, a day before expiry or roll it out a day before expiry, just because expiry days tend to be more volatile for a variety of reasons. Doesn't look like there's much volatility today. Even these straddles, etc., priced really, really, really cheap, right? If I look at the 0DT straddle, it also looks like there's not much liquidity, which is pretty wild. 40 rupees ka straddle. If somebody wants to punt, they can. Not a recommendation, guys. If you want to punt, you can buy a straddle for 50 rupees or something. 40 rupees, 30 rupees actually. Damn, that's cheap, man. I'm also getting tempted. Anyway, let's close this position out first. Yeah. Let's square it off. So we ended up making money in this trade despite all the crazy volatility. Most of the sort of money that we were losing a few days ago was coming from an increase in volatility and just the delta exposure that we got because of us being short gamma. So oops, what the hell happened here? Let's do square of all. Let's close this out, close it out, close it out, close it out. So as we are getting closer to, or as the second month now becomes the first month after today, right? And we start, as time to expiry starts decreasing, the gamma of your position will start increasing. We'll start getting more and more short gamma. And that's not something I particularly want to do because, I'm running a business, I'm doing this course as well. And then I have like other algos and stuff running, but I don't manage them super actively, right? So the reason for putting this trade on was or rather the reason for this course was get you to start looking at options with a volatility lens and then teach you enough so that you can at least start putting this very basic trade on, right? And then managing this trade. So we are now done. We made money in this trade, which is great. And we've seen quite a bit of volatility in this trade as well, right? So when we put this trade on, I think at one point we were down 10,000, 11,000 rupees in it, but we just sort of managed our risk along the way and got it to a stage where we are closing in the positive. I think overall realized volatility was still lower than implied volatility during this period, but even if RV is less than IV, we know from our lessons that you'll only make money on average, right? There is this path dependency that actually drives your PNL in the short run. In the long run, the difference between IV and RV will drive your PNL, but in the short run, there is this path dependency and volatility that will lead to fluctuations in your PNL. So if you guys don't understand this, we'll get to this in the 4th and 5th sessions, the theoretical sessions essentially. So, all right, guys. So this marks the end of the first batch. I'll probably do an exit call with all the first batch guys whenever they are ready, whenever they see this. If you guys have questions, please ask. Otherwise, close karte hain isko. Another product idea I'm getting is I should probably just have a share thing, right? So this entire trade, this VRP 6th February jo trade happening, I should be able to just share this. So in the sense, when I do a replay over here, like we can see the evolution of this trade, right? So I'll create a shareable link for this so that, and I'll pin it in the Discord community. So that anybody who wants to actually see this trade, this entire, all these trades that I put on, right? Along with the story in the video, okay, what's happening now, what's happening in the market now. So you'll have that complete picture. Okay, how was I thinking about it when I put this trade on, and how was I thinking about it when I managed my deltas? It's not the most sophisticated way to think about it, but it's simple enough that I only had to, be in front of the screen, like a total of 1 hour during this 20-day period, right? So 1 hour, I'm not paying a lot of money in brokerages, also only paid like $150. Because it's a very simple and basic trade that you can put on that anybody can put on as a complete beginner. We just need to understand, like it would be preferable if you understand what's actually happening from a volatility perspective, right? And that's the goal of this course. The goal of this course is to get you to think about volatility and get you to learn enough so that you can start putting on at least this very simple trade. Questions? Akshansh, theory trade positive में बंद हुई, negative में बंद हुई. I know you were sort of mirroring what I was doing.
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so it might sound a bit odd, my question, but why can't we stick to something like a Telegram where people can easily access and listen to the courses than this app that, that's not really user friendly in that sense? I'm sure you would
Telegram?
have.
So we are going to add more sort of channels to Discord. See, it's actually the app is not that unusable. It's more like our use of it. Algotest ki use of it has been pretty poor. Like we've not educated you on the right way to use it. So, and this is something I was talking to somebody else about in the morning as well, where I have, like, my sole focus has been in making making the content very easy to understand. And this is not a very easy topic. So that has been my sort of focus in the last 2 months or so. Now that I think the content is at a stage where it's easily digestible, and I'm also very confident in explaining like each and every point. Like my goal is to, if you ask the question why, I need to have an answer for it, right? All the way down to why, like recursively. So I think that is now sorted. And what we'll do is we'll do a better job of onboarding you into this thing. It is actually, like, Discord actually is quite well suited for community and long sort of long form discussions, deeper discussions. Telegram, WhatsApp is more for like daily halchal kind of a thing. That's what my sort of learning has been. But from a posterity perspective and an organization perspective, organizing the course, organizing the entire content, I think Discord does a pretty good job. The issue is not with the app, the issue is with us, the Algotest team, who's not really done a very good job of organizing things within Discord. So one thing that we've done now is, you can see on the Discord community, we've created like these 4 sort of channels, right? One big issue was people had no idea ke recordings kahan pe hai. So now the recordings will be there in a structured manner. And from a notification perspective, I think what we'll do is we might, if you guys are part of that original WhatsApp community, right? At this stage, I am sharing the every live session and every sort of planned session I'm sharing in that community anyway, in that WhatsApp community from a notification perspective. So you guys can continue to be part of that. If you guys don't have that link, I can share that with you on Discord.
If you can, please.
Yeah, sure. Anything else, guys? Anything about the trade?
So, like I said, right, I have to go through any sessions or anything. So, is presuming to ask any questions would only seem stupid and foolish.
So check out the recordings batch 1. Usme all 12 recordings are there, right? And so Akshansh ne 500 rupees kamaye. But the issue is 8-9 ka loss dekhna on just 2 lakh, which could have been more worse. Itna variance doesn't seem good to my appetite. Even though my risk capital is not that high, man. 8-9K ka loss dekhna on 2 lakhs of capital. And it's again like, matlab, this is what you get paid for, man. Like you get paid to take this risk. ठीक है ना? The thing is that nothing is, see, we think that hey, yeah, trading is easy. Yeah, so maybe, so I actually managed my deltas in a way where I wasn't really rebalancing that frequently. You could actually rebalance more frequently. So Akshansh, what I ask you to, maybe what you should do is, put this trade on, or rather replay this trade on the simulator and just maybe try to rebalance your delta every time your PNL gets to 2000 loss, right? Try to rebalance then. Try to rebalance if it goes to 2000 loss, 2000 profit, chahe loss or profit ho, main rebalance kar raha hu, right? Try to do it that way and then see if that PNL fluctuation is more palatable to you, right? So you could try a bunch of different things here. For me, like I said, right, I can handle the variance, and I kept telling you this throughout, you guys, this throughout the five live session that we've done. Okay, it's a variance thing. I can handle it. Everybody has a different sort of risk tolerance from a variance perspective, but you do get paid. And I wasn't even glued to the screen, right? Jaise, I think Harshit said that he made 10K on this trade, right? He was like, मुझे 10,000 दिखे तो मैंने जल्दी से close कर दिया. But I wasn't in front of the screen at that time. He's always in front of the screen. I wasn't in front of the screen, so I didn't know. But in any case, like, you don't have to trade this way, right? You don't have to manage risk this way. I just manage risk this way, and I also made sure that every time I rebalance, I do a live session, right? So that also added a little bit of friction to my ability to put this trade on and manage it. So the answer to your question is, so Akshansh is saying could have been 20,000 ka loss also. Agar ek din upar ya niche khulta, and that's exactly right, especially when we were like at a 10,000 loss, volatility had gone up, market had gone down. But I think it was pretty cool that, the very first iteration of this course, I put this trade on, and it was a pretty rocky journey. It wasn't a very smooth sailing, which is pretty cool. So yeah, man, like, see, trading is not easy. Trading is actually pretty hard. And we see all those like 45-degree wale PNL curves jo Twitter pe dalte hain log, and people share their M2M. There is a crazy amount of survivorship bias that's happening there. Not only survivorship bias from the perspective of ki, only the successful traders are sharing their PNL, but there is a second order of magnitude of survivorship bias that's happening, where even the failed traders are only sharing the PNL on the days where they are making money. Okay? So there is like a second order sort of scam survivorship bias kind of a thing that's happening. तो हमको लगता है ट्रेडिंग आसान है, 4-5 करोड़ लोग कमा रहे हैं, but actual numbers are in front of you, which are the SEBI numbers, and you can't make money without taking risk. And if you are taking risk, you better make sure you're getting paid to take that risk. Any risk that you're not getting paid to take for is stupid to take that risk, right? So we need to understand deeply, क्या मैं risk ले रहा हूँ, मेरे को, am I getting paid to take this risk or not, right? And that is the lens through which we have to see this trade and trading in general. More questions, guys? All right, guys. So I think I'll end this session now. Good. We will deploy new trade. यार तुम डाल दो, मतलब I'll do it tomorrow. I just have to कर दें क्या एक कल करते हैं यार मैम. Like I'll with the second batch I'm going to do the live session once the theory is over. So tomorrow I'm doing a session on realized vol for you guys, and it's going to be different from the first batch because there were learnings from the first batch in terms of content. So I'm going to work on that content, and you're welcome to put that trade on again, man. Like all you guys can just watch the video. It's a pretty basic trade. You are taking risk. No trade is risk free. No trading is risk free, guys. So you are taking risk. If you put this trade on, you just need to know how to manage that risk. If you ever get stuck, I'm happy to take a look at your position and sort of tell you what I'm thinking. But again, like, it's not going to be a recommendation, right? It's just like, hey, what would I do in this situation? And I've been in quite a few situations. This was actually not that not that bad a situation, not that crazy a situation. So okay, guys, so I'll share the recording. I'll share this recording, and this marks the culmination. This marks the end of our first batch. We did 8 theory sessions, and then we did 5 live sessions, and each of the live session was just following this one particular trade, and me just sort of thinking about letting you guys know how I'm thinking about this particular trade. I hope you guys have an idea now. Okay, how do vol traders think about managing their positions, think about putting their positions on? And the idea was to get you to a stage where you can put this very basic trade on, which has edge, but the edge doesn't come without risk. So you need to know you need to accept कि भैया risk है, and then you need to figure out a way to manage that risk. ठीक है? Would we have ever taken the M2M loss, or we keep adjusting endlessly? So I would probably, in this situation, if the market just kept going down and volatility kept increasing, I would probably, like, I think I said it in the third session or in the third session or the fourth session when I added more risk to the trade, right? I would probably like stop after after shooting like the third time. So I shot the second time when we were, I think, at a 4,000 rupee loss and VIX was at a 15, right? So I had another bullet in the revolver, so I took that shot, and that worked out for us. And had that gone against us, I had enough, like, my position size was small enough relative to my capital that I would have been like, chal yaar, ek aur bet le lete hain. Let's, like, rebalance, but let's take another bet because vol is even higher. And then after that, I wouldn't have taken any more shots. I probably would have managed the position for a few days from a delta perspective. And then if like the vol just kept going higher and higher, then I probably would have just closed out my entire position. That's what I'm thinking now, but who knows what would have happened at that time. Right. So I was like mentally prepared to have, like, to size up 3x as long as every subsequent level at which I'm selling is a higher volatility than the first 2 times, right? So if vol just keeps going up, then I'll be like, chal yaar, I was wrong all 3 of those times. So let's get the hell out. But it would be less focused on PNL and more focused on, yaar, I'm just अब भाई 3 बार गलत हो गया हूं मैं थोड़ा, let's like take some risk off the table and then let the market stabilize a little bit before I decide to put this position on again. ठीक है? ब्रो, तेरे जो डिस्कॉर्ड वाले क्वेश्चन है ना, बहुत, मतलब, एक किसी ने केली के बारे में भी पूछा, मतलब दीज आर रियली लाइक research. So one very simple Discord wala question, Harshad, where you said can we use straddle premium? So matlab, I have a mathematical answer to that. I have to like formulate it, but the short answer is yes. As your expiry gets lower and lower, right, as you get closer and closer to expiry, you can use straddle price as a proxy for IV, because what happens is your PNL or the straddle price starts behaving more and more. The straddle price is driven more and more by your delta and gamma, because your gamma is so high, right? So your straddle price is determined more by the fluctuation in the market rather than the fluctuation in the underlying rather than the actual implied volatility dynamics. So as you get further out in expiry, your straddle price is more dependent on volatility than the underlying. So the short answer to your question is कि yes, as you get closer and closer to expiry, you can use the straddle price as a proxy. दूसरा क्या क्वेश्चन था तेरा? ये मैं एक्चुअली आई वाज लाइक इसको मैं कैसे जवाब दूं विदाउट राइटिंग लाइक अ 5-page ब्लॉग ऑन इट. बुक मैनेजमेंट भी किसी ने केली क्राइटेरिया के बारे में भी क्वेश्चन पूछा था, तो दैट इज रिलेटेड टू बुक मैनेजमेंट, कि हाउ डू यू एंड इस पे व्हाट आई एम गोइंग टू डू इज वी आर रोलिंग आउट अ म्यूचुअल फंड प्रोडक्ट, तो उसमें वील स्टार्ट विद बुक मैनेजमेंट बिकॉज इट्स इजियर टू थिंक अबाउट इट इन दैट पर्सपेक्टिव कि यार कौन से एसेट क्लास में कितना डालना है मैंने. तो I'll answer that question in that context and then it can also be applied in this context. And 30 delta ka logic was not really much, man. It was like it was something that I'm comfortable with whenever I put a strangle trade on, there are trade-offs, right? 30 delta versus 20 delta mein 20 delta mein your win percentage will be higher, but you have a higher tail risk. Akshansh, we'll talk about this in the second batch. ठीक है, like this is like हर्षित के question में answer कर रहा हूँ because like the thing is like actually मेरा थोड़ा nature ऐसा है कि if I have to really answer the question and like write down a solution, right? अभी तो मैं verbally तो मैं कुछ भी बोल दूंगा most of the, but if I actually have to write down the solution, I have to like look at so verbally what I'm saying is more of my intuition, right? And I don't I want to confirm this in data before actually writing down like a long solution for it, right? But my intuition here is with the 30 delta ki why 30 delta, why not 20 delta, why not 50 delta? 50 delta mein kya hoega, you'll get feedback more quickly. And what I mean by that is कि as the underlying starts moving around, again you have a higher gamma, right, in a 50 delta versus a 30 delta or a 40 delta. So you'll get feedback more quickly from the market कि you're wrong, and आपको rebalance थोड़ा ज़्यादा जल्दी करना पड़ेगा. And as a result, as the position moves away from your short strike, if you sold a straddle, your Vega exposure will start changing more quickly, right? A strangle gives me a more flatter Vega exposure, and if I were trading this more, if I were trading this more actively, right, then I would probably sell a straddle instead of a strangle if I were trading this more actively. But in my case, I'm not trading this super actively, and I want that sort of Vega exposure. Basically with a strangle, I get a flatter Vega profile for different range of stock prices. It gives me more wiggle room for the stock to move around. I don't want to trade too much. I don't want to be glued to my screen. That's why I do like a strangle instead of a straddle. As I get like, and there's a trade-off here, right? So there's no right answer. It's more just, it's more just what's more comfortable to you, right? It's the same with delta hedging. Harshit is saying I do only option selling. I only have an option selling book and not investing.
No. I am asking about your option selling book. I sell options only on my investments. I pledge them and then sell them.
That makes sense.
I am asking कि आप you were saying ना कि भाई option selling के portfolio को थोड़ा सा diversify करो. That is what I'm asking. How to diversify it? Last class I asked you. You said कि इसको 10% रखो VRP selling को. And do the other.
तो मैंने ऐसे ही I just said it from the perspective कि if you want to 10% किया तो 1% से शुरू कर ले. If you have a 1 crore book, you can just start with one lot, right? So my point here is it's more a principle of so
बाकी से क्या करूं? आपने कहा इंट्राडे कर ले, डायरेक्शनल कर ले, बाकी से क्या करूं? What do you do? That's what I want to know. What do you do?
नहीं
इंट्राडे
बाकी
सारे
से
लोग
क्या
कर
मतलब हुआ?
मतलब ये जब मान लो चलो कि 10% ऑफ द ऑप्शन सेलिंग पोर्टफोलियो इज नाउ दिस कि भाई वीआरपी ट्रेड्स हो गई, रेस्ट द 90% ऑफ द पोर्टफोलियो मैंने चलो 40% इंट्राडे खुद जो डिस्क्रेशनरी रिटेल ट्रेडिंग गंदी वाली होती है वो कर ली, रिमेनिंग 50% से क्या करूं?
और एजेस ढूंढो यार, मार्केट में बहुत एजेस हैं, ऐसी कोई
वही
वो
तो
नहीं है। मैंने
वही तो
मैंने
सीखने आए थे।
तो मैंने एक एज सिखाई है ना तुमको, वीआरपी। अब नेक्स्ट एज जो मैं बनाऊंगा उसका एक और कोर्स बनाऊंगा।
अच्छा, छोटा कोर्स बनाना, आई जॉइन अगेन देन।
ठीक है।
राइट भाई,
um चलो,
थैंक यू।
cool यार, cool. See the thing is, there are like edges that are available in the market, and not, they're all sort of ऐसा नहीं है कि भाई बिना रिस्क के आपको पैसे मिल जाएंगे, राइट? तो if there is an edge, that means there is a positive expected value, but there is variance that comes with it. So different edges will have different sort of variance profiles associated with it. And not all edges are suitable for retail traders, right? So this is the first edge that I've exposed. I've not given you guys a strategy, right? I've just said, yeah, this edge exists in the market. This is general knowledge. Like, I've given you an explanation of why this edge exists, how you can harness it, and there are like thousands of different strategies you can make to actually harness this particular edge, right? And yeah, so this is to get you guys started. Now that you guys understand, yeah, this is how the quant funds think about trading. This is how all the big books, right? That's how this is how they think about trading. They look for effects and then they figure out ways to capture those effects. There are more effects that exist in the market, and I will, maybe at some point I will expose more of those slowly. But this is the first one, and yeah, I hope you guys got value out of this. ठीक है? I'm there on Discord all the time anyway. Here to answer your questions and more. Guys from the first batch, there's going to be better content in the second batch. Already, like IV wale lesson mein na, I added more concepts. So in RV as well, I'll add like some more concepts. तो दिलीप, एक बार यार इससे आई मे बी एक हिंदी इटरेशन भी रन करूंगा मैं इसकी ना, करना चाहिए, एक हिंदी इटरेशन भी रन करूंगा, बट इनफैक्ट जो कोर्सेज है वो हिंदी में ही है। मुझे बता दिया करो यार, चैट में बता दिया करो मैं इंग्लिश में रखना चाहूँ या नहीं। तो यार ये रिकॉर्डिंग मैं अभी लाइव करता हूँ, ठीक है, आपके साथ शेयर करता हूँ, एंड जो बैच 2 की मैं 2 क्लासेस ले चुका हूँ वो भी मैं अभी अपडेट करता हूँ रिकॉर्डिंग्स बैच 2 में। कल हमारा थर्ड लेसन होएगा सेकंड बैच का। अरे मैं स्क्रीन शेयर कर रहा था, स्टॉप शेयरिंग। सो see you guys in the Discord community. Ending this now. Bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.